We're going to continue the conversation with Judge Andrew Napolitano. He served as New Jersey Superior Court judge for nearly 2 decades. Judge, we learned that Twitter employees, they didn't believe that President Trump at the time violated their incitement policy, as Tom was reporting. There was talk even among several world leaders at the time about the dangers of a tech company being able to deplatform a sitting president. Should Americans be concerned about something like this?
Well, good morning, Adrienne. It's a pleasure to be with you. Americans need to know the power that big tech has. And as long as big tech is making this decision on its own because they are a private entity that is not a government entity, the First Amendment does not regulate them. So it's pretty obvious that the management of Twitter, the old management of the old Twitter, hated Donald Trump and was looking for any excuse it could to deplatform him. The emails that Elon Musk revealed yesterday, which our colleague just so nicely described, show that there's intellectual honesty there, and there was a debate. Did he violate Twitter rules or didn't he? Can we clearly say that this was an incitement to violence, or can we not clearly say it? Whereupon Jack Dorsey and management, for political reasons, which they can do, decided to deplatform him. The problem for Twitter comes in if Twitter did this as a favor to elements in the government. If there was a government element behind deplatforming Trump, rogue FBI agents, members of the intelligence community, even though Trump was still the president, elements of the government that hated him. And if Twitter was doing a favor for those elements, then Twitter has a problem, and then the First Amendment comes in. But if Twitter was acting on its own, however politically biased it might be, it was free to do so.
Do any of the people who were deplatformed, including the former president, have any grounds for a legal challenge in any way?
You know, that's a great question, and the answer is probably not. I mean, it would be like CNN deciding not to put a conservative Republican on air because they don't want their audience to hear what this conservative Republican's views are. Think of big tech as a bulletin board, and it can decide who to post. So I suppose if Twitter did something intentionally to harm someone, intentionally to harm their business, whatever it might be, there might be a cause of action. But the refusal to put someone's tweet, to post someone's tweet, or the deplatforming of someone for political reasons is probably not a basis for litigation.
In terms of customer service, if social media companies can decide which politicians can speak and which can't, to protect themselves, would it be better to be more transparent for users?
Well, it would be better to be more transparent. It would be better if there were another Twitter. You know, conservatives can go to this one and liberals can go to that one, and everybody will get their message out there. I guess, Adrienne, we might find out what a transparent Twitter looks like if Elon Musk comes through, and it seems like he's going to, with all the promises he made of making the new Twitter, the Twitter that he now owns, the marketplace in ideas without censorship. And if there is going to be censorship, clear, predetermined reasons why the person's being deplatformed, and the transparent statement of why they were deplatformed. So here's the reasons why we deplatform, and here are the 2 or 3 rules that this person broke, rather than, we don't like Trump, let's get rid of him. I think you're going to see more transparency because Elon Musk is a great businessman, and this will help his business model by drawing more people to Twitter.
One more question for you. I know we have to hurry up, but House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy vowing subpoenas of these 51 high-level security and intelligence officials who dismissed the Hunter Biden story on Twitter as Russian disinformation. What do you see happening there?
I don't know if the House of Representatives can subpoena someone and say, why did you say this publicly? These are 51 former intelligence and military people. Once they leave the government, they have a right to express their political opinions, just like the rest of us. And Congress has no business saying, why did you say this? On Kevin McCarthy's side, he wants to know, did you spill any beans? You still have a national security clearance. Did you reveal anything that you learned via your national security clearance when you wrote this letter saying the Hunter Biden story is Russian disinformation? So we have both sides there. I think the free speech side, you can't drag somebody before Congress because they expressed a political opinion with which you disagree. I think the free speech side will prevail.
Judge Napolitano, thank you, as always, for joining us.
Pleasure, Adrienne.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.